Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. This is your boy, the coach from the WWE. I would like to welcome you to the very first wrestling podcast in the world to take you on a weekly deep dive into classic matches along with legends of the squared circle. Enjoy the discussion. Enjoy the back and forth. There's so much to get into. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Payoff.
Welcome to an all-new episode of The Payoff. I'm Tom. That's Jeff. We're going deep into the bowels of a boiler room at the Gund Arena in Cleveland, Ohio for this one. This is one where I requested it because I was watching the Mankind Undertaker A&E rivalry documentary. I think they just call it WWE Rivals, but you know, they were talking about this match and they spent a decent amount of time on it. And I'm like, man, I think I know I watched it live. But I really wanted to cover it and just see. I mean, I know they beat the shit out of each other. So I don't know, I think it'll be a really fun match, but I'm looking forward to covering it. What about you?
Yeah, a lot of story here, of course. Nothing ever wrong with the Undertaker and Mankind.
Like a 5-year story on this one. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of going back and forth. I've got during the match on this one, I've got a little boiler room history for us as well too. Ooh. And so, we'll get into that as well too. So that should be good. And so, kind of giving the breakdown of how that worked out. But yeah, this is it's a cool one. Cool. You know, it's a weird stipulation. Like I'm not expecting a 7-star Meltzer Classic here, but at the same time, it should still be pretty good. So I'm ready to get into it if you are.
All right, dude, let's do it. It's time for the build.
Oh, it's time for the build.
So like I said, Gund Arena, 1996 were SummerSlam. I do remember ordering this show. Obviously, Shawn Michaels is champion. So this is, peak fandom for me. Was so happy my guy was finally the champion. August 18th, 1996, Cleveland, Ohio, 17,000 in attendance. Your dark match, Steve Austin defeating Yokozuna. Now, keep in mind, Jeff, Steve Austin was your King of the Ring. And this is a thing that often gets lost in history is, Steve Austin cut that promo and then he became world champion. No, Steve Austin cut that promo and was working the dark match a few months later. So, a lot had to happen for him to, finally make it to the top. We start off with Owen Hart defeating Savio Vega by submission in 13 minutes. The Smoking Guns are going to defeat the New Rockers, Godwins, and Body Donnas in a 4-way elimination tag match in 12 minutes. Some fun names in that one. Psycho Sid is going to defeat the British Bulldog in 6 minutes. Kind of a random match there. Goldust is going to defeat Mark Marrow in 11 minutes. Jerry Lawler is going to defeat Jake Roberts in 4 minutes. They had their pretty heated rivalry going at this point. And then, I'd argue this was a 2-match show, right? We had the Boiler Room Brawl, and then we go on for the world title match of Shawn Michaels defeating Vader to retain his title. Obviously, a lot of drama on that one. They did not enjoy working together.
No.
Yeah, and that was supposed to go on and be a 3-match series, and it didn't happen. But Jeff, one thing that's interesting about this show, there's only 2 title matches. You have your world title match and you have your tag title match. No
before SummerSlam, it's weird, yeah.
Yeah, no Intercontinental Championship on this show, and there weren't 18 titles at the time. So the card looks a lot different than certainly a SummerSlam would in 2023. So I know there's so much here. How do we get to these two inside a Boiler Room Brawl?
Yeah, so a couple different notes on this one of just kind of how it played out. So this is August 18th, 1996. That's where we're starting. We'll start with Mankind, actually. He actually arrived in WWE in 1996, of course, debuting the gimmick personality of Mankind. Is, if for those of you that may or may not remember, a lot of his initial vignettes and promos, he was in the boiler room. And so they would usually film it, during the day where he was in the mechanical room or the boiler room or whatever it was. That's where he would cut his promo. And remember, if he would speak to his rat. I forgot about that as well too. And so pulling out his hair. He had, at the time it was kind of crazy, like it was something different. And so we were getting that. And so it was April 1st, 1996, the day after WrestleMania 12, debuting and beating Bob Holly on that one. And then right away, of course, getting into the feud with The Undertaker. So just a couple months prior to this. And so they really were interfering with each other. There's matches. This was the first ever Boiler Room Brawl taking place. Part of the stipulation with this, or just how the match was going to play out, is that you had to. It started in the boiler room, and then you had to reach the ring and take the Undertaker's urn from Paul Bearer. And so that was a part of this match. Is you're like, what's going on when we're watching this one? That is why Paul Bearer is involved and stuff like that. And so, Taker and throughout, leading up to this, like Mankind and kind of getting involved with Undertaker in some of his matches. And so, but costing him actually the Intercontinental Championship. He interfered in the Undertaker's casket match against Goldust. That was in Your House 8 in May. And so, kind of appearing from inside the casket and then sealing the Undertaker inside. Like, so a little bit of, a little bit of magic there, if you will, wrestling magic is the supernatural that we like from time to time. But then also Undertaker at that one, the cloud of smoke and him vanishing through that one as well too. And so, but then, like I said, the kind of interference back and forth. It was actually their very first on-screen match. Do you know what their first on-screen match was, Tom? I know it's in the notes here, but did you remember
Their first on-screen match?
Yes.
I think it was King of the Ring.
It was 1996 King of the Ring.
Yeah,
if we remember, it was Paul Bearer accidentally hitting Undertaker with the urn, which allowed Mankind to lock in or apply the mandible claw and getting the win on that one. And so, and again, just kind of back and forth. And so it really just, these guys, like, they were constantly like spilling into the audience, going backstage, like at the time too, interfering with each other's matches, but also like you weren't seeing this really. It was a little unusual to have these types of things happening. And so, in the boiler room or backstage, like all those things happen. Like, it was not as commonplace as we know it nowadays. And so, it was kind of cool to see. So, with that, like, just they hate each other, that don't need much else, and they're interfering with each other's matches. And so that's how we get into this one.
Well, I'm pumped to cover it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for this one, and we're starting with the Undertaker trying to find Mankind, so it should be good stuff.
All right. 1 hour, 48-minute mark. 1 hour, 48-minute mark. Season 9, Episode 1, SummerSlam 1996. Are you ready?
I got it pulled up. Let's do this.
It's time for the payoff.
Ho! It's time for the payoff.
Mankind already in the boiler room.
Vince McMahon on commentary. Love it.
Taker walking up to the door that says boiler room danger.
Cautious.
So good. So they filmed this the night before, and again, we'll be watching here. But from what they described, they really beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Like we have such high praise for the Undertaker in that kind of last ride match and the cinematic nature of it, but like he's been doing this for a long time. Like that was not his first cinematic match. He went out, and did it right. And but also like it's interesting. Like he's been doing this for a long time. Yep.
He's looking for Mankind. Still kind of like the old school Undertaker with the looks like he powdered his face kind of to have like a little bit of a white look to it.
Mm-hmm.
He's climbing up looking for Mankind right now. He's moving. And we're doing it back end.
We are witnessing a relatively cautious Undertaker. He's found him.
I think Undertaker is scared, McMahon.
It's tough to see, huh? Is it tough to see on your screen too? I mean, it's pretty dark.
Yeah, the kind of camera. We're not sure what's going on, what's happening.
Hear the whirring of those.
You'll see it later when they go into the arena, but they had like these like little like TV carts around the ring so people could watch. But this actually, if you were there live, if you were there live now, you wouldn't care so much. But if you were there live back in the day, this would have sucked. I mean, there was just not a lot to see it. All right, so here comes Mankind. The problem with working a match like this is like you're hitting people probably harder than you normally would, but it doesn't look as stiff as it actually is. Like, I mean, Mankind's got a piece of wood that he just hit over Undertaker's head, and then Undertaker falls onto cement and some piping, right? Like, I mean, it doesn't look great, but like it hurts like hell. Like this hurts way more than anything they would do around the ring.
It has to. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Just falling on the concrete alone, like it's, it's got to hurt like hell.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just curious of like some of so I mean, these guys, like their top rated match ever. And again, I'm going off of Meltzer here, but the Hell in the Cell match is number 1. And then Buried Alive was number 2. Couple matches they had a match they had in 97 was 3. So this was actually like the 5th ranked match that these guys have had.
Which, a lot's taken away from this one just because of how they filmed it. Like, it's not bad, but it is just a little like one of the gripes that on this one's like there's no fan noise, like you said, because they filmed it the night before. There's just not, you don't know what's happening. Yeah,
I can't tell. Like, do they not have the fans like mic'd up for this?
They did not. Nope. Like, so you are hearing just the legitimate boiler room sounds. They did not pipe in anything on this one.
Got it. Okay. So that's interesting that they didn't mic up the crowd. Just again, for some other, I mean, I'm sure they did it for a reason, but you'd think that this would be a little more interesting if you heard the oohs and ahs and everything of the crowd, right?
I think it's because they didn't know what they were doing. Like, it was the first one of this, so like they didn't really know what was going to happen or what was going on, and so they just didn't do that. And so I'm right there with you. I wish they would have, but it's just unusual to not have that. Yeah.
Well, the crazy part about this too is like this is a bold spot to put this. So this is again, this is a 2-match card. There is nothing else that anyone would ever pay $1 to see on this card other than this match and Shawn Vader. Okay.
Yep.
So these are the only two. These are the only 2 matches that you would actually have paid to see.
So the camera's kind of being weird now.
Yeah, so they did a little like fake camera not working.
I'm sure that took a break there or something happened.
This was what I'm saying. This was a bold thing. Like you'd more expect this to like be like a buried alive match where it main events a like in your house boiler room brawl type thing. I just thought this was very bold and ambitious to do as, you know, a semi main event of SummerSlam. Looking back, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just like watching these guys kind of go at it right now. It's just like there's just you can tell it's the first time. So it's like the first pancake you need to throw away, like, you know, and not to say you need to throw this one away, but there is a lot that like I think they were learning on this one. The idea was cool, but it's just like it hasn't fully clicked yet. Yep.
So I've got another list.
Did have.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I got some trivia for you too.
Well, let me hear. So I've got.
So of course.
Go ahead.
Mankind has done 4 of these matches.
Dude,
by my count, there have been.
I thought he only did 2. I thought he did this one and one against Kane. So I'm surprised
there was. Unless I'm forgetting one. So this list does not have him having a match with Kane. So there was Mankind and Undertaker.
Maybe I'm wrong.
And then
what else?
Mankind and Big Show in Your House Backlash 1999.
Okay.
Triple H and Mankind. It was September 1999 on a SmackDown. And then finally you had it was Raw December 1999. That was Triple H and Mankind and the New Age Outlaws and the Mean Street Posse getting involved, and they were dressed as Santa. So that would have been your holiday episode there. But Mankind being in 4 of these, there are 2 guys that are tied for the second most. One you'll probably guess. The second one you may not. So do you have any idea who's been in 2 Boiler Room Brawls tying for the most after Mankind at 4?
Undertaker.
Nope. Undertaker was only in 1, shockingly.
Big
and
Show.
So Triple H.
Okay.
Yep. Nope. We had Triple H and Mankind and that one. And then the other was actually Jerry Flynn, who beat the Barbarian and the Wall. And so, like,
what year?
I don't even remember that, but there you go.
Like 2000.
They were all 1999.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah, it was on 2 Nitros. It was actually almost 2 weeks apart. Like Jerry Flynn beat the Barbarian and then the Wall in a no contest. So yeah, just weird. Yep. We're making our way through here. It looks like we're kind of slowly starting to get back to somewhere. Yep. Hit him with one of those wooden pallets. That had to be terrible.
Yeah, I mean, they're just. So if I had to be, I mean, you know, the one thing I'll say is like I think it needs crowd noise. Like I don't think you need to eliminate the crowd noise. I get it. You're in a boiler room. Like I see everything.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear everything. Right. So it's like I don't know. Like I would have still done that. We know they're in an arena. We're trying to present this like it's happening while the fans are sitting inside. We know we're eventually going to go there. So it doesn't actually make sense to me that you would do it this way.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's just really that first time them trying to find their groove.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
it's just
listen to it. And I know they've done empty arena matches before without fans. I get it, but I don't agree with it.
Well, and this is one too. You couldn't have this go as the main event, which makes sense. Because like to send them, like we know, like these are hard to watch. Like, you know, you did the Raw anniversary and, you know, watching on screens and like it's just difficult to, you know, not have people there. And so, and just not have them kind of you know, I don't know. It's tough. And so you want to tell that story, but at the same time, like you have to make sure that there's some engagement, because to watch a 20-minute match on a screen is not the way to have people be engaged.
Okay, so Mankind going up the ladder here.
This is the built-in ladder, not like last week where it's like bolted to the concrete wall and doing an elbow drop off of it.
Like that right there, prop didn't look that great, but it's like it is. You know what I mean? Like that was a great elbow drop, but it's like without crowd noise and like dark, and you don't appreciate how good it is.
Mm-hmm. It is, the atmosphere of this is cool. Like, you know, like just having the setup and not like kind of knowing what's going on. Like I do appreciate that. And Undertaker just laid out at this point. And so is there a way to do this match nowadays? It's kind of, you know, where
that's
some
actually,
work, but
that's a great question. So the answer is yes, of course this match could be done now. You have better cameras. So I would imagine that even if the lighting was the exact same, just the cameras would probably capture this a lot better than they did. You may modify some of the lighting. The other thing is you add crowd noise, and the crowd wouldn't be able to actually watch it because it would be on the screen. So, you know, you would get a reaction from them. Whereas I'd imagine this crowd was just sitting there, like half of them couldn't even see the damn match. Right. So they probably hate it live. So I think you absolutely could. I think that if they were, well, and you think about it, and it's like, think about the Edge Orton match at the WrestleMania at the Performance Center. I mean, that's basically the match these guys did, right? Most of what they did was on a production truck and tables and jumping off of shit, and so it was kind of similar to that, but it was way better lit, and you know, you still didn't have a crowd sound for that one, but again, you get the idea that I thought that was a lot more interesting than this, although some people hated it because of how long it was, but I didn't mind it. You know, so it was the pandemic. Where the hell were we going, right? So
right, yeah.
This thing where now this is the second time they've acted like the camera went out, and so they have like fuzz on the screen. This is really stupid. I'm not a fan of this at all. So okay, so now I'm understanding why this match probably wasn't well reviewed. It feels like I've been watching this for an hour and a half.
It's just it's too slow. Okay, so they showed Undertaker looked like doing a suplex or a body slam to Mankind at that point.
I mean, how long have we been watching this match for? So we've been watching this for, let's see, this has been 14 minutes. Like they didn't need to be in there for 14 minutes. I think they needed to be in there for like 10 minutes, beat the shit out of each other, then get down to the ring. Because as we know, this is a 20-minute match. So
26, yeah.
Okay, so we still have like 12 minutes to go in this thing.
And it's just they're a lot of times when we see they're not doing anything to work their way to the ring. Like I think that might help a little bit with this one if we knew that they were making he set up just another ladder. We've seen this.
Now there's crowd sound.
Audience react to what's going on.
And now we're piped in,
Mankind on the top of that ladder. Mankind.
That was not a crash pad that he fell on. That is a box with a tarp on it. Yep.
Yeah,
so now they're piping it in, like, which is weird. Like just it's a jarring kind of change. Yeah.
Well, and the problem with that spot is that he landed on like a little piece of cardboard, but it didn't break his fall at all, but it kind of looked like it did. That fall was a lot worse than it actually looked there.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So I got another list pulled up of top 10 Mankind Undertaker matches. So King of the Ring 98, number one. Great. No disagreement there. Number two they have is Buried Alive. Did you and I watch that match?
We haven't. No, we have
Really?
not. I think I have. Do I have a Buried Alive? I don't. We've talked about it, but we have not watched a Buried Alive yet. I will during the holiday season of Halloween. I will get us a Buried Alive match here.
So that would be, yeah, let's do that in the fall because that's when it took place. But that would be the third match of this. So they had that original King of the Ring match. They had this match. Then they had the Buried Alive match third. Okay. So that would be a fun
Gotcha.
one. Now, so that all took place in 96. Now, they also did Undertaker Mankind at In Your House Revenge of the Taker. So that's going to be Taker's first title defense after beating Sid at WrestleMania 13. So that makes sense that after everything these guys had been through, Mick Foley having multiple wins over the Undertaker, hey, he's going to challenge him for the title. You knew they'd put on a good match. That certainly made a lot of sense. That was called a violent match. Mankind. That was the one where Mankind went through the broadcast table head first, which was pretty awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, I do remember that now.
Their fourth best match of all time was Survivor Series 1996. So that's going to be the fourth match in that series. That's going to take place after Buried Alive. So remember, after they do Buried Alive, you're like, if this isn't the blow-off match of all blow-off matches, what is, right? They go back at Survivor Series 1996 and they just do a regular match. Mankind,
great shot here of Undertaker. Yep, reaching through the door. It's like Mankind's trying to lock him in the boiler room. Yep.
Survivor Series 96 was where Paul Bearer was above the ring in the shark cage. But again, keep that in mind. We go regular match, we go boiler room brawl, we go Buried Alive, and then we go regular match. So 4 pay-per-view matches in 1996. And keep in mind, Mankind, I mean, they were thinking he might just be, kind of one and done. Like he'd be a quick feud for the Undertaker, like Giant Gonzalez and Kamala and everyone else, but that's not what happened, obviously. So that's that match. Okay. The fifth best match was their first one, that King of the Ring in 1996. The sixth best match was a 1996 match on Raw. Okay. So this is now the fifth match of 1996. Okay, 1 week prior, Undertaker beats the Executioner in a Armageddon Rules match. Then him and Mankind at this show go no holds barred. So now we go with a no holds barred match at the end of 96. Seventh best match of the series was this match.
Was that Marty?
Marty?
It's definitely cold. I thought I saw Marty. It looked like him. Yeah. Austin, yeah.
Look out. Ooh. This looks like a prison riot.
Oh, man. That was not a worked cart.
No. I'm telling you, this might have, I mean, for Undertaker, at least, this was a stiffer match than the Hell in the Cell was. I mean, they're killing
They're using, like, there's stuff in the hallways that they are at, like, that is not worked.
But like to your point, like the coffee. Oh, this is a good one here. Remember this one?
Yep. He's got one of those large, like,
scalding hot coffee.
Yeah,
it's one of those large coffee like dispensers that you see at like events and things like that. He just threw it at the Undertaker. And
if I'm not mistaken, that actually was hot coffee. So this part of it was, when they were battling in the hallway, this part was live. Okay, so they're now live. They're coming through the entrance. Let's hear the fan reaction.
Mankind is gonna make it to the ring first. There he is. No, he's waiting for the Undertaker. He's waiting for the Undertaker to come into the.
And this match ends when they take the urn from Paul Bearer, right?
Correct. Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how you win is you have to grab the urn.
Well, we got to look at this once we get in the arena. Like where actually could fans watch it? Because I'm guessing there's like a screen above the entrance. Probably wasn't that good. All right, so let me finish up my list here. So this is the 7th best match of all time. They had a 1998 Raw match that was 8th. That's going to take place a few months after Hell in a Cell. So it's like after Hell in a Cell, why have these two wrestle in Raw? They should have never wrestled ever again, right? What's the point?
Mm-hmm.
There was a heat they wrestled on at the end of 98. Again, why bother? And then there was a 1999 Raw match as well. So there you go.
Yeah, okay, so there is that one big screen right there.
Oh, look how nice seat for like behind that screen.
Is that perfect on commentary too? Oh yeah, look, you can see the TV, and it's like that. Oh, what a terrible setup! That is like when you and I were in elementary school, and it's the TV on the cart that's literally at the end of the ramp. Oh man,
VCR on it. I told you.
There it is. Yep. Oh.
Yeah, and that is Mr. Perfect on commentary. I mean, this had to be right before he went to WCW. Couldn't have been there much. So one of the TVs is down. I mean, those things weighed 100 pounds.
You could see them. They're on all sides of the rings. Boy, yeah, those were a 100-pound TV right there. Easy. So that would hurt too, just throwing that around at somebody.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that's one of the problems with this match. It's too damn long.
And too slow still. Like we're back in the ring or almost back to the ring, and it's just too slow. Yep.
Yeah, I get what they tried to do. I just it's too long. I mean, the slow part doesn't bother me, but like a 15-minute slower match is one thing. 26 minutes is just too much.
Mm-hmm.
So Mankind moves part of the you don't see that very often.
Not anymore. Yeah.
Being set up. He's set up on concrete now. Well, in fact, Mankind hits his own. Mankind is up.
Yeah, he hits the power.
I feel like the last people to do that was like Gargano and Ciampa when they were having their sets of matches. So
that's funny you say that. I was thinking that as well.
Paul Bear looking distraught in the ring as Mankind's like clawing his way back in.
Yeah, they didn't move those TVs by ringside, so they look really weird.
They didn't, which I find comical. Yep.
Yeah. All right, so Taker is caught up to Mankind here. What's your favorite Mick Foley character?
If I had to pick, it's Mankind, but I have and who is yours?
Mankind. I this version of Mankind, this like really deranged version of Mankind's my favorite because it's like I mean I knew it was like Mick Foley, but like or Cactus. I knew it was Cactus Jack, but like I didn't know much about him, and so like I just I just thought he was weird as shit. Like I mean I thought it was just such a weird character. I mean I loved it. I thought it was great. Okay, here comes.
I got a better. Back out of the concrete. I got a better question for you though. I saw this meme.
That was nasty, by the way. Off the ring apron, flat back onto the cement. That was fantastic.
Onto the cement. A meme that I saw that not that long ago. Who would win in a match? Dude Love, Cactus Jack, or Mankind?
Cactus Jack.
You think Cactus would beat the others?
No, you know what? I take that back. Mankind would win. It's definitely not Dude Love. Okay, so here we go. Undertaker.
On one knee, as we've seen so many times before. Yes, the Undertaker, the victor here tonight at SummerSlam. Give him the urn. Wait a minute. Give him the Mankind driving that mandible claw into the goal of the Undertaker.
Paul Bear's laughing. Paul Bear's laughing.
The paralyzing hold being again placed on the Undertaker, as we've seen so many times before, and I don't understand at all the attitude of Paul Bear.
Undertaker's out.
Oh my God. Paul Bear.
What?
Look at this.
Oh, say it ain't so.
Where did the Undertaker just set up?
Okay, I get what they were trying to do. You're turning Paul Bearer heel on the Undertaker. He's joining Mankind. I did not think that was well done. What do you think?
No, it's not. Like, and this was,
you tell there's no fan reaction, so it's not just us. But like, wouldn't you have hit him over the head for the shock factor instead of just sitting there laughing?
you had to, yeah.
So now he's
whether it was timed wrong or whatever, like, yeah, something just didn't. The spot didn't work like it should have. The TVs are annoying as hell too. Just like sitting there. Yeah.
Are we over yet? Is it official?
He has not grabbed the urn yet, so no.
And the Undertaker beginning to crawl toward Paul Bearer. Undertaker inching over toward Paul Bearer. How can the Undertaker possibly understand what has happened here? Look!
There he finally hits him.
No shit. He'd already turned heel. Why wouldn't you have done that? Wasn't
it's
that
a little too late at that point?
Here's the
Yeah.
winner. Wow!
all right? Let's get to the aftermath.
Ho! It's time for the aftermath.
Horrible execution of that.
Yeah, just a really poor, like funky, almost too funky finish, which the match, would have worked if the ending paid off, but
yeah,
unfortunately it didn't.
The match was too long. We already, beat that to death. You get that part of it, but the part that really killed me was why wouldn't the heel turn have been when he hit him? I mean, I remember that shot, so I was waiting for that, and then you just got him like pulling away and laughing. Bad, man. Bad.
This
was really poorly done. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
the visual just didn't work. Yep.
Nope. All right, get into the aftermath. So what happens after this?
So of course on this one, 20 plus minutes, and like we saw, trash cans, tables, ladders, metal poles, coffee, exposed concrete, like you name it. This match did have a lot though, but this would have been the first time that Paul Bearer turned on the Undertaker. And so, because they had always been together. And so Paul Bearer then becoming Mankind's manager, of course, Mankind referring to him as Uncle Paul. He then became the number one contender to face, who at the time was the champ Shawn Michaels at In Your House Mind Games. Michaels won that one because Vader interfered and the Undertaker interfered. Their rivalry continued. Like you said, it was the first ever Buried Alive match. It was In Your House Buried Alive. Makes sense. Undertaker winning that match. But attacking the Undertaker and burying him alive during that one. Of course, I'll save what happens on that one because we will talk about this one. I was looking as we were having this. Shockingly, I don't have that match on our list. I do have the Austin Undertaker Buried Alive match, but I will get this Buried Alive between Mankind and the Undertaker on our list as well too. And so, because cool little things that happened there, and so I won't talk too much more about what happened there. But I ended up going on to SummerSlam, a couple other different matches, WrestleMania, things like that. So Taker 19, Mankind 45 in 1996. The torch on this one, a long drawn out boiler room brawl match between Mankind and Undertaker that received mixed reviews. There was no announcing and the match was methodically paced. For some, this was unhinged, unusual, gimmick-filled battle in a fascinating setting. Others saw it as a drawn-out snore fest between two guys with no sense of urgency or sign of adrenaline, filling time, leading to a couple of nice bumps in the eventual storyline at the end of the match, which alone would make up for the preceding minutes. Good angle, dragged out match, 1.5 stars. Been a while since we've seen one that low. Meltzer didn't even rank this one. He said Mankind beat Undertaker in 26-20. The rules of the match is the first person to break out of the boiler room and get to the ring and get their own for Paul Bearer would win. The first part of the match was taped the previous day, largely for timing and possible editing purposes if something were to go wrong. It looks like a movie fight scene with the two bashing each other with objects and Mankind taking hellacious bumps and taking sick punishment. The problem was with no crowd noise audible and the announcers not voicing over the action, the fighting sequence was too long. After the match, the lights went out and music played, and a group of druids in dark carried the dead Undertaker to the back. No rating because so much of it was taped, but Barrett was great doing the turn, and both worked very hard. The only negative was the boiler room stuff lasted too long and needed commentary and crowd noise. The announcers did a great job with the turn. We're scoring this, man.
Man, I got this thing at like a 3. I mean, I thought it just sucked. I mean, and the thing is, there were some cool spots in there, and they both worked hard, but just did not work for me, man. Very, very disappointing. How about yourself?
Yep, I'm at a 3. I think that's a good number. It's just, knowing what these guys are capable of, like, it's unfortunate. I think that, they is a first time. I wish it had been paced better. I wish there were things that were a little different, but overall, like, it just didn't click with me. Yeah.
I was looking forward to this. I thought this was going to be a good match, man.
Well, we'll get in a couple months here, a couple weeks here, whatever we're at. We will follow up and do the Buried Alive match because maybe, kind of getting some of their chemistry, maybe, we'll see something a little bit better as we go on here. But yeah. So I'm home happy.
Jeff, we watch them all.
Yeah.
Man. We watch the good.
Hey, good, bad, whatever it is. I am excited for next week's. I know it's been a while since we've covered one. I had to look back. This is not our first Ken Shamrock match, but it is the first in a very long time. We're going to the Lion's Den, the first time ever Ken Shamrock and Owen Hart in the Lion's Den. So I'm excited about that one. SummerSlam 1998. And then we're bumping up into September. The weather's getting a little chilly here, so we're going to cover a few different things that we haven't covered in a little bit here. What do we got? We got an ECW Gangsta's Paradise match. We've got a big match. What is this? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-way match for the championship. Unforgiven 1999. So we got some good things, as always, around the payoff here. We got some good things in the hopper.
I'm excited, man. I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too. Absolutely. Good stuff happening.
Well, we obviously appreciate you listening. Hopefully you stuck with us through that one, man. Jeff, let me say this. That was one of the most disappointing matches we've ever covered. Like between where my expectations were versus what happened. I just thought that was going to be a better match. I remember it being better. I mean, it really missed the mark. It's one of my most disappointing matches versus expectations we've ever done. Is that fair?
That was fair. And then also, like, I even think back to, recently when we did, like, episode 200 was just rough too. Like, and so with Austin. And so, yeah, just, but like you said, we cover the good and bad around here no matter what.
Well, we appreciate you listening, and we will see you next week on an all new episode of The Payoff.